The controversy of legalizing or prohibiting drugs has been an issue for a very long time, especially in countries where powerful organizations have been engaged in drug trafficking, destabilizing the security of the region. The dangerous effects of drugs can be related to health, economy, crime, and security. Drugs must be penalized to protect the health and the well-being of citizens. Besides the obvious health problems that high consumption of drugs can have on someone's health, some narcotics have very intoxicating components that can influence the behavior of citizens, putting in danger the security of both users and non-users of drugs. Moreover, drugs consumption can easily generate mental and emotional damage and therefore develop psychological illnesses and antisocial behavior. The abusive consumption can cause premature deaths because of overdose and generate extreme dependencies and addictions. Studies show that many drug consumers commit crimes including murder, child and explosive use, rape, property damage, and assault under the influence of drugs. If illegal drugs are legalized, the prices will be much lower than the current price, and this will make it more affordable for people to buy drugs, and there will be more people able to consume them, taking into account that are powerfully addictive substances. Controls and prohibitions help to keep prices higher, and higher prices keep users' rates relatively low, since drug use, especially among young people, is known to be sensitive to price. Our position is simple and evidence-based. Both the criminalization and legalization of illicit drugs will increase their use, along with the associated health and social cost. Arguments for advocates of decriminalization and legalization are self-refunding, because it is clear that it cannot be proved that drug use is a net good for society. Most of the crime and terrorism is drug-related or drug-founded, and the prohibition should reduce this phenomenon. The frequent use of hard drugs is one of the strongest indicators of criminal career, engaging active criminals of both property and violent crimes. Drug consumption in early ages could also determine a violent behavior in adulthood and perpetuate drugs business. As studies of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime show, there is an increasing role of drugs trafficking in promoting and financing today's global terrorism. It is extremely hard for individuals who have chosen to pursue a life of crime and violence to change their course, get legitimate jobs, and become tax-paying citizens just because drugs is legalized. The individuals and organizations that smuggle drugs are only seeking for making the most money, illegal money. The black market and the illegal trafficking of drugs wouldn't disappear with the legalization of the narcotic. Unless all the drugs in all its strengths were available to all ages in a limited quantity, the black market would still prevail. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes studies show how countries with bad drug law enforcement have higher stars regarding both drugs addiction and crime. On the contrary, countries with a strong law enforcement regarding drugs have experienced a decrease in drug addiction and enjoy a lower rates of crime. Currently, the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs of 1961 has 185 member parties that fight to prohibit drugs and avoid its consumption. Legalizing drugs would only make problems to increase and dismantle the complex system to avoid illicit drug production, trade, and consumption. As can be seen, the use of drugs can have very dangerous effects in both users and non-users. Increased crime rates in countries with higher percentage of drug consumption has negative impact on its overall security and economy of countries. Prohibiting drugs, therefore, is strongly necessary to prevent damaging consequences.